Everyone expected a war. When Marcus Sterling, the CEO of Sterling Tech, served his wife divorce papers to marry the heiress of a media empire, the tabloids sharpened their claws. They waited for the screaming matches, the asset freezing the public breakdown. But Elena didn't scream. She didn't hire a shark lawyer. She didn't even cry. She simply signed the papers, left her wedding ring on the mahogany table, and vanished into the night. Marcus thought he had won. He thought she was weak. He had no idea that her silence wasn't a surrender, it was a countdown. And when he finally saw her again 6 months later at the world's most exclusive secret gala, he realized too late he hadn't just divorced his wife. He had divorced the woman who secretly owned him. The fountain pen scratched against the heavy parchment, the sound distinct and jarring in the silent conference room. It was the only noise in the penthouse office of Carter, Hale & Associates on Wall Street. Marcus Sterling sat back in his Eames leather chair checking his Rolex. He tried to suppress the smug smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. Across the table sat Elena, his wife of 7 years. She looked smaller than usual, wrapped in a simple beige trench coat that had seen better days. Her brown hair pulled back in a severe, practical bun. "Are you sure you understand the terms, Mrs. Sterling?" Marcus's lawyer, a man named Silas who charged $200 an hour, peered over his spectacles. "By signing this, you are waiving your right to the Sterling Tech shares. You are accepting the lump sum payout of $500,000, which is, frankly, generous given the prenuptial agreement." Generous. Sterling Tech was currently valued at $4 billion. $500,000 was less than the cost of the car waiting for Marcus downstairs. Marcus watched her closely. He braced himself for the outburst. He had prepared for this moment for months, rehearsing his arguments. "We've grown apart, Elena. I need a partner who understands the global stage. You're happier in the shadows." He had even prepared a PR strategy to paint her as emotionally unstable if she decided to fight. Elena looked up. Her eyes were dry. "I understand the terms," she said softly. "Elena," Marcus said, his voice dripping with faux sympathy, "you don't have to rush. If you need a moment to process—" "I don't," she interrupted. Her voice wasn't angry. It was indifferent. She leaned forward and signed her name. Elena Vance. She had already dropped his name. Marcus blinked. That was it? No screaming about the 7 years she spent supporting him while he built his code in a garage. No mentioning the nights she worked double shifts as a paralegal so he wouldn't have to take a day job. She capped the pen and placed it gently on the table. Then she reached into her pocket and pulled out the 3-carat diamond ring he had bought her after his Series B funding round. It clattered onto the glass table. "Goodbye, Marcus," she said. She stood up and walked to the door. "Elena, wait!" Marcus stood up, confused by his own victory. It felt too easy. "Where are you going? Do you have a place to stay? I can have my driver take you to the St. Regis for a few nights until—" She paused with her hand on the doorknob, looking back at him. For a second, Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. She didn't look like the woman who baked sourdough bread and proofread his emails. She looked like a stranger. "Don't worry about me, Marcus," she said. "Enjoy the IPO. I hope it's everything you sacrificed for." The door clicked shut. Marcus sat back down, letting out a breath he didn't know he was holding. "Well," Silas laughed nervously, gathering the papers. "That was the easiest high-net-worth divorce I've ever handled. She didn't even ask for the house in the Hamptons." "She knows she couldn't win," Marcus said, his confidence returning. He stood up, buttoning his Tom Ford suit jacket. "She's a simple woman, Silas. She wants a simple life. She knows she doesn't belong in my world anymore." He walked to the window, looking down at the rainy streets of Manhattan. He saw a small figure in a beige coat step out of the building and disappear into the crowd. "Good riddance," he whispered. He pulled out his phone and dialed a number. "It's done, Serena," he said, his voice changing to a purr. "I'm a free man." On the other end, Serena Vanderhoven, the daughter of a Dutch media mogul and currently the it girl of the New York social scene, laughed. "Finally, Daddy is securing the invite to the Obsidian Gala in Zurich. We need to make our debut as a power couple there. It's strictly billionaires only. I'll be there, Marcus promised. I'm one of them now. He had no idea that the woman he just discarded was the only reason he had ever been allowed in the room in the first place. 3 months passed. For Marcus Sterling, life was a blur of flashbulbs, ribbon cuttings, and champagne. With Elena gone, he was free to mold his image into the titan of industry he believed he was. He was dating Serena van der Hoeven, a match that the Wall Street Journal called a merger of dynasty and innovation. Sterling Tech stock was soaring. He was on the cover of Forbes. He was living the dream. Yet strange things began to happen in the margins of his life. Small inconveniences that began to pile up. It started with his schedule. Elena used to manage his private calendar, balancing his meetings with an intuitive grace. Now his new team of 3 executive assistants seemed constantly overwhelmed. He missed a crucial meeting with the Japanese regulators because of a time zone error. Then it was the networking. I don't understand. Marcus fumed, pacing around his office while Serena lounged on the sofa scrolling through Instagram. Why hasn't Lord Harrington returned my calls? We were supposed to discuss the London expansion. Maybe he's just busy, darling, Serena said, not looking up. Let's go to St. Bart's this weekend. I can't go to St. Bart's. I need the London deal to close before Q3 or the stock takes a hit. Marcus didn't mention that Lord Harrington had always had a soft spot for Elena. They used to discuss obscure 18th century literature during boring fundraisers. Marcus had assumed Harrington tolerated Elena to get to him. He was beginning to suspect it might have been the other way around. But the biggest blow came from the Weber Group. The Weber Group was a shadowy private equity firm based in Zurich. They were the kingmakers. If Weber backed you, you became a global institution. If they ignored you, you remained a local player. Marcus had been courting them for 2 years. Mr. Sterling. His CFO David walked into the office, his face pale. What is it, David? Did we get the meeting with Weber? No, David said, placing a letter on the desk. They pulled their interest. What? Marcus snatched the letter. They can't pull it. We were in final due diligence. What reason did they give? They said... David hesitated. They said the risk profile regarding key personnel stability has changed. Personnel stability? I'm the CEO. I'm still here, Marcus shouted. They didn't elaborate. They just cut us off. Overnight. Marcus crumbled the letter. It's a negotiation tactic. They want a better price. Get me a ticket to the Obsidian Gala. I know the head of the Weber Group, Elias Thorne, will be there. I'll corner him personally. Serena perked up. The Obsidian Gala daddy finally got us the invites this morning. It was harder than usual. Apparently the guest list has been curated by a new chairwoman this year, and she's ruthless. Perfect, Marcus sneered. I deal with ruthless people every day. We're going to Zurich. While Marcus scrambled to save his empire, nobody bothered to ask